All right, hey, what's up everyone? It's Andrew at Microphonic Designs here at Benbrook High School or Benbrook Middle High School. It's one or the other, so I've been told. And today's setup came together really well. It's a bit on the smaller side, but it's still modest. We still got some channels and some mics that were coming in. Let me show you the plan. I got the documents over this way. So this was the original plan where you'll see we've got two marimbas on side 1, which is the left-hand side, 2 vibraphones on side 2 on the right-hand side, and we've got xylophone and bells in the middle. And this is pretty much exactly how everything came together today. We've got the synth in the back with a DTX, possibly. There's been a little talk of maybe moving to main stage, and we'll kind of touch on that some more when we take a look at the synth cart. And then the mixer goes in the back, and then they've got one of those McCormick juicer battery things that goes next to it, and this is what we stuck to today. The soloist mics, we actually have 2 of them. And I have just a couple of 50-foot cables going from the mics back to the mixer so they can position those mics wherever they need to go for the setup. Let's take a look at what's going on in the mixer. If you've been around the channel for a while, you'll know how I normally set these up. So let's go back to the home button here. And on the input layer, we've got everything outlined exactly as we normally would have it. The marimbas are over on the left-hand side. We've got vibes. Let me turn this off here. We've got the synthesizer next to that, the DTX channels, and these are all linked together, by the way. So whenever we have an electronics instrument, normally there's a left and a right channel, and we can link those together in the mixer to make sure that it's, even though it's 2 channels, it's treated as one. It's really nice. So I got the electronics all together, and then I had planned for 3 soloist microphones because I wasn't 100% sure, but we're actually only using 2, but they do have the ability to plug in for 3 if they need or want to do that. The custom layer here is sort of the primary area I think that they'll be working in. So what we do is we hit the input 2 and the output buttons at the same time, and that brings us here where we've got our DCA, which it stands for digitally controlled amplifier. This is basically a group volume control for whatever channels are assigned to that DCA. So we've got group volume control for marimbas, for vibraphones, for electronics, and soloists. And I've got these 8 channels set up as what are called rollout channels. So whichever DCA they select, those are the channels that are going to show up. So this way, on the custom layer, they've got access to everything they need to adjust right here just by selecting which section or subsection they need to adjust, and they can do so very easily. Or if they want access to all of it at once, they just go to the input 1 layer and it all shows up. And then I've also got the subwoofer output. So what we have on their mixer on the back, you'll see we've got 4 cables coming from 4 different outputs. We've got the main left and right, and then we've got the left sub and the right sub. And what's important to note here is that their front ensemble is going to be back on the field a little bit. So it'll be probably near the front hash somewhere, so not exactly the sideline. And so as we're looking at the front ensemble, the mixer is reversed, like it's turned around how we would normally have it. So the way that this is wired down here, the red output, let me turn the flashlight back on. There we go. So the red output is for the left, which again, if we're looking at the front ensemble from this perspective, the left is over there, because for the audience, that's the left. And then down here, the yellow, that's the right-hand side, but as we're behind the mixer looking at the audience, that speaker over there is the right-hand side. And I've got these color-coded. So again, the yellow comes out to here. So everything down the chain is color-coded. And I got the white up here so that they can follow the chain back. And then it's the same on the other side, just different colors. I've got red and blue over there. So red would be the main top and blue is the sub. And that matches up again with what we have back here. Okay, so this red cable coming out right here goes out to that speaker, and the blue cable coming out goes to the sub. I just wanted to note that because it could be very confusing as to why the red, which is on the left of the mixer cart, goes that way, but that's why. It's because the mixer's just turned around. So if they decided to move everything to the sideline and then the mixer was facing the normal way, like up front, that's what would be going on. We've got a pair of the Yamaha P5000S amplifiers going out to the, what is that? That's the 112V, so they got the 12-inch tops and then the 18-inch, the single 18-inch subwoofers. And I actually had to do some repairs to their little output panel here today. Let me get in from behind here so I can show you what's going on. So I do have a video kind of explaining what's going on with the 4-pole speak-on cables. Let me get in here. So you'll see this heat shrink I had to put on there because the little spades that connect to the back of the connector had come loose and were exposed. So I grabbed a little extra heat shrink and connected everything back together, made sure it was real secure. And I did that for both sides. And then this is the first time I've run into this ever doing these setups. They actually have the wires going straight in to the little posts. Usually I see speak-on connectors which go here. And this works just the same, but it just looks a little bit different. The speak-on connectors are perhaps more convenient, but this stuff is likely not getting de-installed anytime soon. So I made sure to mark each wire with what color it is, and they just go into the post. So this is the first time in about a decade I think I've ever seen this, which again, it's fine and it works, but it made me chuckle. And then you'll see here we've got all of the inputs for the amplifiers also color-coded, again, to match the colors we have coming out of the back of the mixer. As far as the actual setup goes, whoops, dropping stuff. As far as the actual setup goes, we have a modular snake that we're making use of. Okay, so this end marimba, this is marimba 1 for them. This is where everything kind of comes together, and really what that includes is marimba 1 itself, marimba 2, and then the synth and the DTX in the back. And y'all know me, I keep things clean so that it's easily traceable. Everything has a color code, right? This is kind of how I ran the cables today. And yeah, that's about it. So pretty standard modular snake setup. But this is where the bulk of the channels come in, is here at the end of marimba 1. And you'll notice that unlike Frisco High School, if you caught that setup video, I've run the modular snake back to the player side because the mixer is in the front ensemble, right? So it wouldn't make sense to put the mod snake connector up front if we're running the cable back to the back. So I wanted to make sure that that was really convenient for them. We've got the cables coming over from marimba 2 here, which again, we have the single stripe of white for the high microphone and the double stripe of white for the low microphone. So this will be a little bit of a change for them. They do need to pay attention that this one has a single stripe and this one has a double stripe, because marimba 2 has been designated as the color white. The synthesizer back there has been designated the color blue. So you'll see here we've got the blue connectors, single and double, and then the yellow is DTX, single and double. Now, as I mentioned, they may decide to switch over to main stage, so I've left things a little bit flexible for them. I went ahead and installed the DI boxes. So we got the yellow in here. You'll see single and double yellow for the DTX left and right. And then we've got blue, single and double for the synth. And whether or not they use the DTX, like they have samples, but like if they use main stage, they won't have a need for it. So all they have to do is just cut the DI boxes off and simply just use the pair of blue cables that go over to that marimba. So again, if they decide to use a computer and they have an audio interface, they won't need all 4 cables. Here's the cables for the DTX. They won't need these if they go with the computer, but I wanted them to have the option and the flexibility to do either or. So that's what we have going on. So these cables would go from the back of the DTX, which I color coded. Again, single and double yellow right there. So those cables will go from the back of the DTX to the DI box, and then this pair of cables, which are zip tied together, would go from the DI box over to that same spot and connect in. And then we've got 2 other areas to take a look at, which is vibraphones. So here we have the vibes. I've chosen to do these as yellow and green, and we've got a cable bundle. See, I've got those zip tied together. It comes straight over here to the back of the mixer, and I've made sure to color code yellow and green right here. This is where the vibes plug in. So whether or not they unplug from here or they keep this plugged in all the time and roll the cable out to the vibes, like which way they do that, may be up to determination. They may have to figure out what works best for them, like during setup and everything. But again, I'll let them figure that out, because all it is just a pair of cables that goes to the back. So real simple stuff for the vibraphones. just their own kind of pair of cables going to the back. And then the same is going to go for the soloist mics. We got the red soloist mic, we've got the white soloist mic on their own stands, and they each have their own 50-foot XLR cable. And I did not put these together because I don't know at this stage if these two microphone stands are going to go close to one another or if they're going to be on opposite sides of the front ensemble. So if I knew what was going to be going on, I may decide to zip tie these two cables together, but to give them the flexibility of, you know, maneuvering their mics where they need to, I've left them separate. And just like I did with the two Vibe mics, let me see if I can get back here this way. I'm stuck. They're prepared. They got the tarps on these. So again, down here in the bottom, that red and the white, that's where the soloists go in, on the bottom row there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the setup. Real straightforward, not too much stuff, but it still took a good solid work day because of some of the repairs that we had to do, all of the color coding and the detail that we try to put into the cabling. So if you've got questions, comments, hopefully not concerns, drop them down below. And of course, I'll get back to you. And if you would like help with your front ensemble sound, get in touch. It's microphonicdesigns.com/contact. I've got like a contact form you can fill out. You can also book a call, like a phone call with me. I've got like a Google Calendar thing in there for that. Please don't hesitate to reach out. It's been a real joy today coming out and helping this new school. This is the first time I've worked with them. I think they're on the south side of Fort Worth. And so the next move for me is to pack up the car, grab some food, and I'm actually going to check out the Chisholm Trail Skate Park because it's like right down the road. So until next time, take care. See ya.